I'm here to tell stories and I'm here to just with you guys. I mean, Wally has done a bit of the work, trying to lay the foundation to most of the things I will be talking on and touching base on this evening. And I think I'd like to pick up from where Wally stopped. Wally was trying to highlight the different ways um, by which you can start off your investment journey. And just like Aduni said, investment as first plan, not second or third. And over the years, right? I mean, I've been in this space, and one of the things that I have come to understand with people that are intentional about building wealth is that they create a system to their journey of wealth creation. So it's a system to wealth creation and wealth multiplication. Now, there are usually three different, it's a three-prong approach, right? So, first of all, you need to be able to build wealth, which was largely what Wally spoke about, right? You need to be able to build. So, in building wealth, right, there are a lot of things that you need to look at for. How do I go about it? What are the processes? What sort of investment opportunities should I be looking out for? What sort of approach should I take? What are the economic indices or index that I need to be able to build wealth? Now, the second part of it is sustaining wealth, right? The first is to build, the second is to sustain. Now, it is very possible that over a period of time, you've been able to build wealth or you've been able to build capital, right? But at some point, there are possibilities that you lose all that you have built. And that's why, more often than not, people are caught in between the three prongs. So you're able to build wealth, and then without sustaining it, you want to jump to multiplying wealth. And that is what affects a lot of young people. That is the issue a lot of younger persons face, because you are stuck in between sitting and saying, okay, I've been able to use the different platforms, right? Oh, so it is RiseVest I'm using, and I've been able to, over a period of time, being able to save up, and I'm now building wealth. So I can comfortably sit back and say, I have been able to build technically 10 million naira as my wealth capital, to say, okay, I have this monies and I'm actually trying to do a lot with it. Now, that is just you building. Sustaining it means that with or without any sort of impact, any external influence that comes shaking your way, your 10 million naira cannot diminish. You need to build it to a certain level that you have a minimum benchmark, even when the tides come against you. You need to be able to look at it and say that irrespective of what is happening, you are able and very much able to create that balance for yourself. And then the third part, which is what I'm going to focus on largely, is multiplying and diversifying your wealth. And again, I am using wealth and income. I'm going to, use them interchangeably. Now, when we talk about wealth and income, as much as people like to say they are different, right? I mean, they are different, but income is the input you need to create your wealth. Income is the input you need to create your wealth. So see it as the you till the ground, right? And then you plant something into the ground, right? And then you begin to nurture it. Your income, which is what comes into your pocket, what you are bringing in, is not for you to expend totally. It is for you to set a portion of it aside to build wealth, sustain that wealth, and begin to think of multiplication. And in modern day, there are 1,001 ways for us to diversify our income. 1,000 ways. I'll tell a story quickly. I'm an entrepreneur. I run a couple of businesses. And I remember that a couple years back when I started running my business, right? I had the first set of staff, and it was quite tough trying to maintain the daily overhead, right? And also trying to ensure that we keep paying salaries. And what was important for me to do at that point was to get to a point where I, as the founder of the business, the owner of the business, I needed to take myself out of the equation in terms of salary to create a sustainable approach for the business. Now, the question I needed to ask myself really was then, if I have to do this, what then do I need to survive on? Because primarily, as a business owner, my source of income is my salary. So I had to come back and I sat down and I started asking myself, what other skill sets do I have? What other things can I do? What other capabilities do I have? What other capacities do I have? And when I sat down, I took my pen and I wrote out a long list of all the other things that I could do out of my regular line of business. And guess what? When I started writing them down, I started asking myself, if I am to do X, Y, Z, right? Can people pay me for this skill set that I have? Can people pay me for this skill set that I have? Can people pay me for this skill set that I have? Can I monetize this skill set that I have? And this is what happened, guys. When I finished, I was able to identify 6 things that I was currently doing for people, and I was not charging them any money for. And I told myself, if I start to charge people for doing this for them, for doing that for them, for doing XYZ for them, right? What I can then do is that I can free up my income from just the business and then have multiple other sources of income coming into my wealth purse. And the moment I have multiple sources, right, I can then determine how to sustain myself, build wealth, sustain the wealth, and begin to think of multiplying wealth. Let me say this. The reason a lot of us cannot think beyond just survival is because we have conditioned ourselves to live from hand to mouth. So it's about the ongoing activity. Every day, what we are just doing, let's just keep doing it. As long as I can meet my need, I can pay my rent, I can put food on my table. That has conditioned you to living on a sustenance mode, on a survivalist mode. Life is meant to be lived beyond survival. Everything is beyond survival. It's beyond just waking up and being able to pay yourself and pay the bills. And here is the thought. So you must first of all identify what you've got in your hands. You must be able to identify the things that you've got in your hands. Oh, I work 9 to 5, but I have seen that over a period of time, my friends come to me to tell me to help them sketch out something. And at every point in time, when I sketch this thing out, they like it. Can you monetize that gift? Oh, when they want to do anything in school, they ask me to moderate it. Can I then begin to read up on how to be a better event moderator so that when people ask me to come, I can charge them additional 50K or 100K that I did not budget for? So I charge them 50,000 naira to moderate their event. What you have done is you have diversified your source of income and you are thereafter multiplying your wealth, because the 50,000 naira you've gotten, if you can get 6 gigs in a space of 2-3 months, that is 300,000 naira. Take that 300,000 naira and buy Okomu Oil PLC stock, or you put it in a commercial paper, or you go and buy Transcorp Hilton, or you buy Fidelity Bank shares, and you wait it out. You would see that by the end of the year, your 300,000 naira would have perhaps done some good numbers. That same 50,000 naira that you despised from just saying, okay, I can tell people that, okay, if I hold the mic, I can help you anchor your event and moderate your event, right? Has now become your free source of wealth creation and multiplication. So you see that a lot of times, the thing that happens to us is the fact that we do not think outside the box. We expect that when it comes to the issue of wealth creation, of income multiplication, there has to be a very theoretical approach to it. There's nothing theoretical about it. It's a very practical way. Jokingly, I tell people that in the last 1 year, most of my salaries, I have plowed it back into the business. Very intentional, because my business is expanding. From one, we are springing out into 4 different businesses. So I am plowing back every money that comes to me back into the business. But guess what? I have lived consistently on every other source of income. I discovered, guys, that over a period of time, people will come and ask me for business advice. So what I had to do was I started looking for opportunities to facilitate. So I got engaged as a faculty in a business school that I facilitate 3 cohorts in a year. But those 3 cohorts that I facilitate in a year pays me good enough money. I regularly sit down and I have public speaking engagements that pays me good money, talking about the same thing I'm talking to you guys about. So you've seen that all I had to do was to introspect deeply, think through my capacities, and I plugged them into my source of wealth creation. And from identifying one, and let me tell you the story. So, and I will use my story, right, so that you guys can relate. I discovered that over a period of time, people were always coming to me to say, oh, I'm trying to do this business. What do you think? Then I sit down and I talk, and they say thank you, and then they leave. Some of them don't even remember to say thank you. They just shake your hand and they go and execute the business. You know, interestingly, one of my friends whose business I was very instrumental into us starting. So let me tell, I'll tell 2 stories. The first one, I remember that there was a lady I had met at one event, and it was somewhere in Ota, and she was coming back to Abeokuta, and I was also coming to Abeokuta that period. So we had driven together in the car, and she sat at the back with me, my driver, and all of that. And then whilst we were in the car, we were just gisting to say, okay, what's up with you? What do you do? And all of that. And people get very idealistic. To say, oh, I'm almost done. I'm looking for where to, I'm looking for opportunities in NNPC and all of that. And very, how you ladies do it, very idealistic about what she wanted with life. And then, we got talking, what does your mom do and all of that. She was like, oh, my mom, she has like a very big salon and all of that. I was like, so why are you thinking of internship or looking for a job outside of this? I think that your mom has got a great business. You do this thing yourself. Why not sit with it? I was like, no, all the entire story. 2 years down the line, I just see somebody do a flyer to say, oh, she's selling wigs, she's making wigs, she's doing all of that. And in 2 years, right, from looking for a job in oil and gas, I see that what she's now built for herself is a very big salon. Unisex salon. So she has in-house hair making, she does bridal hair, she does multiple stuff that is fetching her income. Just by introspecting and thinking of how to use our skills to generate wealth for herself. Now, that was an instance that I had. I also had another friend who was thinking of doing a business, and the person had come to me and I had sketched, wrote everything down, and I shared it with the person, and the person left, right? Years after, this person got awarded one Young People's Award and all of that. And I paused the person and I said, I hope you remember, right, that we both sat down together to create what your business is now. And the person was like, oh, yes, I remember. I remember those days when you just sit down. And I mean, this person literally just wanted to kill off the idea of the business. Now, I sat down one day and I looked at it and I'm like, I think I'm really wasting my time. Because if I've helped two people that are now doing extremely well, they don't even remember enough, right? They don't remember enough to say thank you. I'm the one that has to remind them. So why am I not charging people for this thing? So what I did was that for every conversations people would start having with me one-on-one, I started putting a fee to it. Oh, for the longest, people invite me for speaking engagements and I will go and I will share and everybody will come and clap and say, oh, this is powerful. And guess what? I wasn't getting any remuneration for it. So what I did really was that I started putting money on these things and people were paying. People were actually paying. So it was just a function of me sitting down and I realized that, oh, if I'm able to do this, right, and I'm able to put things together in proper perspective, I can actually make a whole lot more money from sharing knowledge. Nothing extra, nothing out of the blues, just me doing what I know how to do best. So guys, you see that there's no magic to wealth creation. I'll speak about three other things. So first of all, I've spoken about the potential of you diversifying your income, right? And building and amassing wealth when you are able to look at the skills you have and monetize them. Enough of doing Oshofi for people. Money follows value. Money follows value. So if you've been able to create value for yourself, then ensure that you get remunerated accordingly for the value that you are creating. And I will say this, in this generation, one source of income is not enough, because you have one source of income and you have 99,000 source of expenses. Bills are chasing you, girls are chasing you, lifestyle is chasing you, everything is chasing you, but you have one source of income. That's why you see a guy that is earning as much as a millionaire in a month. At the end of the month, he's still complaining about being broke. Because there are too many channels connected to just one single source. So you need to be able to plug the multiple sources as they are coming into multiple channels. So you have 6, 7 sources of income that are actually quenching the fiery darts of the multiple sources of expenses. I have people that in a year, they have tied their different expenses to different interest they earn on different money. So the interest they earn from their perhaps commercial paper portfolio is used for vacation. One is used for rent. This one is used for this. And the capitals are intact. And they build this wealth with so much ease. I hope you know that on a normal day, the BetaX conference, if we had charged everybody a fee of 50,000 naira, 100,000 naira, people would have paid. It's a function of what you have the capacity to do that determines how big your pocket can get. The second thing I will talk about, so I spoke about the possibility, right, of you introspecting and determining what you can monetize with your skills. The second thing that determines how well you can diversify and multiply your earnings, and I'm not going to speak about abstract things you can relate with, right, is your ability, right, to build a great social capital. Money understands social circle. I'll say that again. Money, wealth creation understands social circle. I hope you know that if within your circle of friends, you guys are not having transactions, right, that exceed a certain amount, you cannot think of multiplying your wealth to that level. If constantly at every point in time, the people you gather yourself around with are talking in thousands, your ability to create wealth and multiply your sources of income cannot exceed thousands. So you constantly will remain limited to your social circles. But imagine that you go to an environment, even if you don't have as much money as they do, but you sit down in their midst and you are hearing transactions worth multi-millions of naira. Let me tell you what begins to happen to you. Your mind, your capacity to think begins to expand. The value you will begin to get from the conversations happening there begins to expand. Oh, they may not give you the money, but what they are depositing in you keeps you awake every night, and you are asking, if these people are thinking it, then there's something wrong with me. If these people are discussing multi-million naira, that means I have the capacity to generate this much. And you begin to sit down and begin to look at yourself. What do I need to cut off? What do I need to readjust? What do I need to reshape? To be able to align, to be able to drive home the point. Money understands social circles. Money understands social circle. I'll say it again. Money, wealth understands social circle. That's why, again, I like the example that what's it called used. What's his name? Falawale, the speaker before me. I hope I got his name right. And it was a Temi Otelola's wedding. I hope you know that the people that were there were people within the same social circle. I hope you know. Very simple and straightforward. The same set of people, the same set of people. Don't forget that if you listen to, and I mean, I think people should listen to it. Listen to what what's it called? His name, Femi Otedola said, right? When he was speaking about what's the name? Dangote. He was talking about 50 years relationship. That's what I was talking about. He has had 50 years relationship with Abu Samad. He has known Dangote for about 40 years. He said he used to look at him from afar, but every day he would stroll down to his house to go and look at his Rolls Royce. You cannot grow beyond. You cannot grow your wealth beyond what you hear. You cannot grow beyond the things that you hear and the things that you see. See, guys, I came to realize something. There is a propensity for you as a human to grow beyond your current limit. But the limitation resides largely on the people that are tied to you. If every day you wake up, and all that you see and all that you hear, right, is the limiting words of your environment, what eventually happens is the environment begins to constrain your mind. The environment begins to dictate the pace at which your mind can work. A lot of us on this call, a lot of people here, and again, I'm a millennial and I'm not apologetic about being a millennial. I can tell you that the difference between a millennial and a Gen Z is different. It's a function of the things we hear, the things we see, the things our parents conditioned our minds to understand. And I'll create that balance quickly. Now, our parents largely, and again, Falawale said it, largely invested in the stock market. But don't forget that there was a period in Nigeria when the stock market crashed and a lot of them lost money. And because of the crash, in the stock market and how they lost money, they incited that fear in the minds of a lot of us. And that's why for millennials, what we could grapple with were the other type of investment, the very low risk, medium risk type of investment. That is why my generation is not entirely investment savvy, because our parents heavily invested in stock, they got burnt by stock, and their recovery strategy was to not go into stock but look for treasury bills and the likes. But there was a generation that came after us, the Gen Z, that had access to Web3, that had access to cryptocurrency, that had access to alternative finance, and they became more hungry than us. So what you will see is that the chances of an average millennial, right, growing his wealth and multiplying their earnings faster is limited in some sort of way to that of a Gen Z. Social capital. Go and check it. Every millennial, right, that has been able to break free from that hold, they've been able to rely heavily on their social circle, and everybody belongs to almost the same social circle. The very hungry millennials are very hungry. The very docile ones are very, very docile. So you need to build and invest in your social capital. Because in multiplying your earnings, these are the people that will show you the different pathways to the multiplication. They are the ones that will be pointing you to the different directions that you should go. At every point in time, they will literally show you to say, okay, go this way. These are the kind of conversations. So build your social capital. It is a problem if every day when you wake up and you scroll through your phone, right, you cannot potentially have 5-6 friends that you could spin off a business together. So you need to be able to think beyond the box, think outside your immediate circle, and begin to build a circle for yourself that understands that wealth creation is dependent on people. People buy from people that they know and that they trust and that they assume belongs to their social circle. The reason all of you on this call are listening to me is that by perception, all of you think that I have something that you don't have. So by default, you want to be in my circle. And that's why you guys are listening to me. So all of us, you must be intentional about creating a circle of friends, a circle of association, right? That is either dreaming of where you are going or are there already. And guys, is a very intentional play. You can joke about everything, but don't joke about the people that speak into your ears and catch your vision. The last thing that I'll talk about, right, that is important for you to diversify and multiply your earnings, right, is your positioning. Your positioning. People don't give money to who they don't trust. I have played in the VCPE space, invested in a couple of businesses. Guys, guess what? No matter how fantastic your business idea is, the owner, the co-founders of the business or the founder of the business is as important as the business itself. The founder is as important as the business itself. So as they are doing due diligence on the businesses, they are doing due diligence on the owner of the business. Where does he go? Where does he live? Who does he talk to? Who are his friends? People go as far as checking your social media page. What are the things that you post? If you are that kind of person that consistently all that you put out is your Oblé life, Lalale Friday life, people will not attach certain level of seriousness to you. Nobody will. And that's being honest, because everybody looks at you and they look at what you are putting out. If your approach to your external positioning does not connote some level of value, nobody chases after you. Nobody comes for you. Nobody tries to put money in your hands. So whilst there's a lot of strategy around, oh, let's create wealth, let's build wealth, and I can tell you 25 ways to build wealth, which was largely what Folawole had done. And I'm like, okay, let's speak to more real things. Oh, I've been able to start saving and I've saved 1 million naira. The real truth is your 1 million naira is somebody's profit on a monthly basis. So you may think that, oh, you need technical knowledge. I mean, he spoke a lot about the technical things. I can teach you on how to create a portfolio. To say, okay, on a monthly basis, what can my portfolio return? I can teach you to say, okay, in constructing your portfolio, these are the things that you need to do. You need to do a risk appetite test to know whether you are high risk, you are medium risk, or you are low risk. If you are high risk, this is how to create your portfolio. So you put a lot of your money in your high risk portfolio. And by high risk, we make cryptocurrency, a bit of stock. If you are medium risk, then that means you are a bit conservative. You do more of real estate, more of stock, more of a little bit of alternative finance, and then money market and fixed income security. If you are low risk, then you can do all of that. Then you can now begin to take profit and then reinvest your profit. Those are very systemic ways to wealth creation. But those things will literally limit you to what you've been able to build with your capital. But I am saying to you that there are multiple ways of creating wealth. Your built up capital is one, but your ability to generate more money, your ability to sit and think of opportunities that comes your way. One transaction that can give you multiple income. That literally you will combine half of it and put it in an investment portfolio and will start doing well. I hope you know that there are people that they have their 9 to 5 and they have their 6 to 8. So they typically sleep for 1 hour every day. As they are closing one, they are trying to realign themselves with another. I hope you know that there are people that have 9 to 5 on a daily basis. But guess what? In order to diversify their source of income and multiply their earnings, what they are looking out for are opportunities on the side. One question you need to ask yourself, one question is, what have I been doing for free? You really need to ask yourself, what have you been doing for free? If there's anyone on this call that people have come back to you consistently to ask your opinion on something, to ask for, oh, what do you think about this thing? To ask you, oh, do you think that this is nice? Oh, do you think that this is okay? And at every point in time, you become their bounce off board, right? It's because you have something. Commercialize that thing that you have. And once you are commercializing it, that means you also now need to start positioning properly and developing yourself. I woke up one day and I looked at my entire Instagram page and I said, no, there are certain things I can no longer put here. And I had to start deleting and archiving certain things. And I'm like, there is a perception that I must have that for anybody to take me serious, for if I'm going to give somebody a bill to speak at your event of $1 million, there's a certain perception that you must have. Sometimes it is not about the follower, it is about the content. People look at your page, they see how organized your page is, right? They see the content and the value coming out from a 6-7 paragraph that you've written on Instagram. And they're like, this person has something I don't have. I will pay to have this person. Some of you work in organizations, right? And they don't know that you're a photographer. So the day they need somebody else to take headshots, corporate headshots, they call somebody from the outside. And the only reason is because when people look at your post, the pictures that you post yourself, they are so haggard looking. But yet you are complaining that your salary, your take home is not taking you home, forgetting that you have an opportunity to expand your income. Guys, more often than not, we are usually the architect of our own misfortune. Oh no, there were so many things that our parents did that literally left them at where they were. Everybody in their time wanted to become a civil servant because that was like the next best thing after sliced bread. But there was more to life. There is more to life. There is more to pensions and gratuity. I read the story of a young man who at the age of 25 resigned and retired from active work because he sold his shares in the company he was, Money Point, at the age of 25. The sad reality is, if all of us on this call, if I give a blank check of 25 million naira and I ask you, what would you be doing with the 25 million naira? It shows where our mind is, how far our mind is from value. Some of you, your friends, you have a solid business idea, very solid business idea that can help you multiply your earnings, that can help you diversify your earnings, but you don't have the right set of people in your midst in your circle to even invest in your business. Yet you are so eager to post on WhatsApp story. For who exactly? I hope you know that there are people that don't know that WhatsApp story exists because they don't check. So you need to understand that there are three key things that can help you diversify and multiply your earnings. Every other speaker that has spoken, I am so sure that they've spoken about how to make money. But what I want to do is a radical shift in your mind, that you wake up tomorrow morning and you are saying, no, I think there's more to what I can do. First off, and most importantly, you must think beyond the box. Sit down this night and ask yourself critical questions. What are the things that people tell me I do so well? What are the things that people tell me I do so well? What are the things that people would always come back to me to ask for answers for? What do my friends think I do the most? And when you have an answer to that, you then write it down and say, do I think people can pay me for this? If I wake up tomorrow morning and I'm saying I'm offering this as a service, can they pay me? If they cannot pay me right now, what do I need to do so that they can start to pay me? You highlight all of these things and you put them out and you say, okay, these are things that can give me free money. Guys, I didn't know that there were certain things that was as sweet as free money. There was a day somebody just bossed me and said, oh, they wanted me to come and speak at an event. In my very early days of speaking, they wanted me to come and speak at an event. I should send my speaker's brief and also send them all the things. I sent what they asked me to send. They were now asking me that, oh, how much do I charge? I said, I don't charge. I will just come. I'll use my fuel, spend my time, spend my resources to go there. And then one day, I was organizing an event. And usually I've done multiple events, different events. And when people come, we package stuff for them. Thank you for coming, gift. And then I was going to invite this lady to speak at my event. And it was a virtual event. And she told me, to speak at your virtual event, I'm going to charge you 1 million naira. I said, for what? I looked at the person with all due respect. I am not so sure she will say what I don't know. I mean, in terms of when we place ourselves together, I am not so sure that she's more intelligent than I am. But what I saw that day was somebody has seen an opportunity in diversifying and multiplying her earnings, and she's taking hold of it. From that day, I decided to start putting value on myself. The second most important thing is your social circle. For some of you, your problem is not that you cannot be wealthier, you cannot earn more than you are earning right now. The problem is the people you have chosen to surround yourself with are blocking and masking your view. For some of them, they've kept your mind so limited that you cannot think outside the box. So you also need to reevaluate your social circle. There are certain people that you shouldn't talk to, not because they are not good enough, but because where you are headed, they cannot get you there. So apologies, we will meet in future. But at the moment, I need to take my life seriously. I hope you know that Bra Femi, when I say Bra Femi, I mean Bra Femi Otedola, has other friends. Perhaps he has friends that they were in school together. Have you ever asked yourself where they are? Stop forming with bestie with people that are not going anywhere. Let your besties be people that are hungry. So that when you are cracking billionaire joke, they understand, they can relate. I hope you know that billionaires joke are not funny to people that are not billionaire. It's only billionaires that can understand. There are certain transactions, there are certain deals that when you decide to talk about, the average mind cannot comprehend. So invest in your relationship and social circle. The last thing, ensure you are positioning yourself as someone who has a plan to grow their wealth and diversify their income. For some of you, the chart from here, right, will be that you will go back, you go and look at your LinkedIn page. That picture of yourself 10 years ago that you kept there, you first of all go and remove it, and you look for a proper headshot and put it there. Proper headshot. You go to your Instagram page, all the nonsense things that you've posted there that does not look like something that will make people take you serious, you archive them. I hope you know that there are some people that have over 100 million followers and they have just one post. You need to create the picture of who you want to be, so that when people, right, want to entrust you with more, when you are looking for opportunities, when you are knocking doors, the doors will open on their own accord because people have checked you out and they know that you look like them. There are certain things I do as a matter of personal principle. If I'm leaving my house and I'm stepping out of my estate, I dress the way I would dress as if I'm going to a far place. Because whether I agree to it or not, I'm a celebrity. And my celebrity status always brings me money. I may not be popular, but I see myself as a celebrity because I speak at places. So I don't want somebody to see me on the road and then they see me in Dunlop slippers and I'm looking tattered and homeless. And they'll be like, she be this person that is charging us how much for event. Or this is the person that is saying we should come and buy course. Or this is the person that says, oh, you know that for some of you, you even upload videos of yourself, right, speaking the wrong way. Or you are writing on your WhatsApp status and you are not cross-checking the thing you are writing. And then the next day, you are telling somebody that you are a copywriter that is blowing wrong grammar. And then you now say people should pay for value. What value have you displayed? So you need to position yourself right. Sell yourself the way you want to make money. The difference between a bottle of water at a restaurant and the one at Kuto Market is a function of packaging and the place you are buying it from. The content and the container is the same. What is different is the location where you are buying, the positioning. The same Ever water you will buy at Kuto Market at whatever price is the same Ever water you buy at Parking, but at a different pricing. So there has to be a positioning. You need to put yourself where people can remunerate you for what you are worth. So again, I hope this night, what I have done is to create a shift in your mind. That when it comes to wealth creation journey, there are multiple ways to create wealth. But there are 3 basic principles which I've shared today that would help you open all of those doors. Again, in your journey, if you forget any other thing this night, there are 2 things that I would not want you to forget. First of all, it is important for you to build wealth. You must be able to sustain the wealth before you start multiplying it. You cannot multiply what you have not sustained. You must have done it over and over. You must have kept the money over and over before you start multiplying it. The second part of what I've said is that as an assignment for everybody this night, sit down and introspect and ask yourself critical questions. What skill sets do I have that can fetch me more money? Secondly, do I have the right people within my circle to help me create and diversify my wealth? And then the third thing, am I positioned rightly to attract the type of money that I want? Am I positioned rightly, to multiply my income the way I so deserve? And with this viewpoint of mine, I hope I've been able to convince you and not confuse you that it is possible for you to build wealth, sustain wealth, and radically multiply your wealth. Thank you very much for having me, BetaX Growth Conference, and it's been great engaging with everyone this evening. Thank you.